Good morning, everyone. It's Grania here on Monday, the 17th of May. Hope you've all had a lovely weekend. As promised, I said I'd come on this morning and talk about something which I see quite a lot in my sales confidence group, and that's that concern about how do you move, typically when you're an expert in your field, from being that expert to selling your expertise. And they're two distinct places to be. So when you set up your business, like we all do, it's because we're brilliant at what we do, or at least we know deep down inside we are brilliant at what we do. You're an expert, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people out there who would definitely benefit from your help. And you have two challenges. You've got the challenge of how do you find them, which is a sort of marketing type sales challenge. And then the bigger one that we're talking about today for most people is how do you then convert those people once you've found them into sales? And I think even those words convert can really sort of shake people. It might leave you cold because it sounds a bit too much like selling. And when you want to, when you set up a business, you don't want to do the selling bit often. What people want to do is the bit that they love and they're expert in. But of course, when you are in business, selling is what you do. And what you need to be able to do, and what we need to be able to do, is to embrace selling and to find a way that it isn't such a big hurdle every day. It's not something that you have to clamber over before you can get out there and do what you love. So we need to make it a good thing. We need to see it as something that where we're starting to solve. Selling is about us starting to solve clients or customers, whatever they are to you, to sell their problems and to make life better for them. So when most people then stumble is that they feel that they're selling themselves, and selling themselves feels pushy, but it's crucially important to think of this slightly differently. You're not purely selling yourself. Even if you're the only person in your business, you're not purely selling yourself, because that's too intrinsically linked to you. Instead, what you're selling is a combination of your expertise, the results that your expertise and your system achieves for your clients, and thirdly, the way in which you deliver that experience for the customer. So you're starting to make it a little bit more objective and create a bit of space between you, this person, and your sort of identity, and how you help, what you do and how you help people. So separating yourself from the outcomes for the client is quite a critical step in moving from being the expert to selling your expertise, because it helps you to be that bit more objective about selling your services. And partly because things don't always go perfectly. There'll be times, I've certainly in my career had times where I've had some horror clients and I know I haven't done a good job, and I've had loads of lovely clients and done a great job. When we put too much store on it being purely about ourselves, those times when it doesn't go so well can be quite hard, and they're quite hard to recover from. So create a bit of space between you, who you are, and what you're selling and how you help people. So it might be easily said, how do I think you should be able to, you can do that in practice? And I see it as there being 4 steps. So the first one is that you really do know your subject, and you as a business owner, perhaps as a new business owner, are likely to be very much at this stage. You're the expert, you know your stuff. You've invested time and energy and probably money to develop your expertise. And you absolutely do need to believe that you are the expert. No hesitation, no doubt about it, that is a given. What often happens, though, as you start to sort of move out into the world and start to talk about what you do, is that you notice that there are competitors and there's other people similar to you. And what can happen is people can start to hijack themselves by thinking, well, they do that better, or they've been in business longer, or they have more credibility, or whatever it is. But you think that they know more or that they have more experience. That's not helpful to you. Again, you need to regroup and think about how do you use that information about your competition to really pinpoint how you're different and what is it that you offer very specifically in a very specific way. So look at the competition, notice who they focus on, how they appeal to their customers, and use those insights to really fine-tune what you're doing so that you are believing 100% that you're the expert. However, if you stay at this level of being just the expert in your field, you run the risk of only ever talking about your content, of just building your expertise and talking about your content, when in fact, as a business owner, you need to move into the prospects world. You need to talk in terms of their challenges and how you're going to help them. So the second step to move from being an expert to selling your expertise is to get crystal clear on who it is that you're helping. So you need to have a very clear picture. You almost need to be able to say it in one sentence. Who is it that you help and what do they look like? You aren't trying to appeal to everyone, because actually when you do, what tends to happen is you can look pretty desperate, and we don't want to be desperate when we're selling. So in the various conversations that you'll start to find that you're having, whether they're speculative one-to-ones or they're referrals, from a warm referral from somebody who knows you well and is happy to recommend you, bear in mind that your sales role is to establish whether the person you're talking to could actually benefit from your expertise. It's not about going in there and launching them with an avalanche of your gems and your wisdom and your knowledge, because they may not be ready for that. Your sales role is to start to uncover what's going on for them and where that sort of overlap might be. Because it may be that you can't help them, but also it could be that you could massively help them. When you're clear on what a good fit looks like for these people, you can start to be more objective again. So you're going to invest your time in being curious. You know who you could help, and you're going to be really curious about how you can help them. You're more likely to pick up, when you're being objective, you're far more likely to start to listen and to pick up the clues of where that overlap will be between what you do and what they need. So that's step 2. Step 3 is you need to be really clear on how you help people. And that's about the transformation. When people start here, you get them to there. What does there look like? Where are you taking them from? Where they're starting from and where are you taking them to? Now, it doesn't have to be a massive transformation. In fact, it can be small, but it needs to be quantifiable. So whether it's about their confidence, whether it's about solving a problem, whether it's about making them happier, whether it's about just getting them out of being stuck in where they are at the moment. So again, you're starting to see your system, your expertise, your system taking people from here to there. And again, separating yourself a little bit from your absolute identity. And fourthly, you need to be very, very clear on how you deliver your expertise as a service. So what is the experience that your customer has from working with you or your client? And one good way to think about this is to be, what if it wasn't you? What if you had to trust somebody else who is as expert as you are to deliver your service? What would they need to know about how you do what you do? What's the process, the system, the sort of the content, and how is it delivered? So again, separating yourself a little bit from what it is that you do and how you make changes for people. There's a system in the middle. And it might feel hard to consider because you want to be delivering amazing results for your client. You want it to be you. But by separating yourself a little bit from the outcomes, trust the process, trust the content, trust the process, trust the results that you can deliver. Once you're clear in your mind on the 4 elements, so we've talked about the content, who you're helping, how it helps, and the experience that you're giving, you can then start to think about the sales conversation. And one way I have found, and other people have found helpful, is you almost see that, you're one circle almost. So you as an expert start as this circle over here, and over here are your potential customers and clients. And if you just go out there and talk about your expertise, you're just throwing stuff at them, really, hoping it's going to land in the right place. Whereas what we need to do is to sort of bring them in together. We need to find the overlap and bring those 2 circles together. And the way to do that is to ask questions, is to put yourself, it's actually to focus on understanding, not focus on telling. So if you're first in selling, your first focus is always on understanding that person, their world, what's going on for them. And in doing that, you then start to see where that overlap, almost that sort of eclipse, like a sort of a moon and sun eclipse, where it overlaps. When you have that overlap, then you can start to see what information, what expertise of yours is going to be relevant to share. So I think there's sort of 2 circles. If there's one thing I'd want you to think about today, well, is really to think of yourself in 2 circles. Just you as this expert and the systems that you have and the knowledge and the expertise and the experience you deliver. You've got your customers over here, and your goal is to bring the 2 together. And you'll do that through curiosity and discovery calls and questions, much more than you will do that through throwing information at them, which is the typical, what we often see as pushy selling. I really hope that gives you some insights that just tip the balance, perhaps between feeling that you're being pushy and feeling that you're helping, because you need to do that. We need to believe we're brilliant what we do, and we need to believe that, and we need to believe it can help. Let me know, have you try it, let me know what helps, and let me know any other questions that you would like me to answer, and I will happily do that. If you're not already in the Sales Confidence Naturally group, come and join us, and I'm in there every day answering questions, and I will also put my email if you want to contact me separately. Hope you have a wonderful Monday. If you're in the UK, I hope it stops raining where you are, because it scarcely has for the last week or so. And I can see I've got my friends from Norway, and I hope it's glorious in Norway and lovely to see you there. Take care for now. Bye.